All right, guys. Good morning. It's 8:01. It's November 4th. It is Tuesday. Market's definitely under a little bit of pressure. Palantir came out with some good news and good numbers and was sold down. Same way Iron had some good news, good numbers, and was sold down. So bottom line is, they're selling good news, so it's kind of pricing a lot of things in. So anyway, take a look at disclosure. Let's get to it. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's morning call. So here we are. I don't know why gold is up here. Let's go to SPYs. Um, you have to have some initial thoughts. Okay, what just happened now? Oh, this is just the trading. By the way, at 8 o'clock, then everything just kind of goes a little wild. But anyway, um, so listen, you have to be able to simplify it. And although there is definitely some reasons to have less positions on because less positions are working, so hopefully you have less positions on because less positions are working and maybe a hedge or two. So, they've sold strength like 3 days in a row. So usually when they do that, you have to be a little careful. And now here you are where we're below 679. So the question is, if you simplify it, here's the 21 day. Is are they going to hold 673 to 674ish, or are we going to get a day like this where they just slice through everything? Which wound up being the low, and then we kind of rebuilt. So I don't know. All I know is here are the spies. Spies are at 670. What are they at? 676.70. There's no particular news on why they chose this morning, except for I really think that it's because iron, no revenues. The poster child of risk was sold into huge news, and then and then you had let's see, Tesla's going up a little bit now, and then you had Palantir yesterday. So last night I was doing the recap, and I was like, hey guys, if you're trading Palantir, try not to have any kind of some opinions, this, that. Does it hold 207.50 or not? It didn't hold 207.50, and then anybody trading for momentum probably sold it, which made sense, right? And now what? So I would say you have to watch Palantir pretty close to see, what's it going to do? Is it going to hold 190 to 192 and come off those lows and repair a little bit, or is it going to, be there and all of a sudden not be able to find the friend, meaning no buyers, and does it break, and then then you have this 186, which is a 21-day there, and then here's 183. So I would watch Palantir just for a little risk appetite just before we get into other things. Last night they were trying to hold it up, and then finally it just gave way. Plus I told you guys that there was a little rumors that there would be a stock split, and when there was no stock split, I feel like there was just some of the juice got loose anyway. So this is one spot. So that's on the crazy risk high valuation side, and then IREN is the same way. It got sold yesterday. Look at this news that came out, and they sold it into 74. And I said, are they going to get it above and stay above 74, or are they going to sell into strength? And that would give other stocks or other reasons to sell other things. So anyway, so now the question is, does it hold 64-ish and look okay and constructive, or does it break it and get follow down selling? So now we're trying to see, is there a follow down selling? So if IREN does not hold 64-ish and Palantir doesn't hold 190-ish, I would think there's going to be follow through downside, meaning that maybe the 21-day does not hold in the spies or the Qs. So anyway, so these are things that you need to have up. These are more of the leading indicators than, in my opinion, than CNBC. So anyway, now let's go to some names that were stronger. So Amazon has been stronger because of some news that had good numbers. I have to say, I feel like we did the best job we could. Could always feel like you could do better, but had some decent options into it. Had the 237.50s into the print and was out of those options in the first 3 minutes and sold them for like $9 to $10 from 3. So that was great. Pulled it in, bought some 255s for 2 weeks out, and then the news came out yesterday about the whatever it was, the $36 billion deal. I'm not even going to get into it, but then you had to move to 258. So what did I do? I sold 2/3 into strength, and I still have a third. Can't get out of it all, still have a third, and I have some small shares. So with that being said, Amazon is down 4. So I'm going to be careful. I'm not just going to buy it down here. I'm going to see where we get a pivot low and then see if it, holds that low and shows relative strength and gives a way to buy it. I'm not going to be in a rush to buy the 260s yet because who knows how long, this corrective move might be. It might go for, till tomorrow, or it might go for 2 weeks. It could turn into a 4 to 7% move off the highs and the spies and the Qs. It could be not. So, just don't. I would not be in a rush and let the action show. Same thing. I'm telling you. Same thing happened here again. If you remember, this got us out of a lot of risk this day. This was the day that could have led to a 10% move off highs, and then the market just rebuilt. So whatever today is, which we don't even know, you don't know what today is. All you know is this would be an area that would be pretty. If we held 673 and rallied back to 679, I would think that a lot of people are going to make a lot of money today. Everyone will sell their puts, cover their hedges, and there'll be things that go right to green that we could trade around. If it slices right through here and everything's just for sale, chances are you're going to have to figure out you want to mitigate your risk and be in a more flexible position. So, just in case you don't get a rebuild like happened here, you're not holding your nose and going underwater. That's just my 2 cents. So for Amazon is filling the gap. Let's see where it is. What else was strong? Apple wasn't really strong yesterday, but I'm still in it. We'll see if this turns into a little bit of a safety trade. The guidance was good. I know the P is high. It's not a crazy P. It's not friggin' Palantir. It's Apple. So sometimes it turns into a safety trade. Sometimes it doesn't. 266 and a quarter. I am not adding any options. I already bought options for 2 weeks out in case I'm in the stock. I am. I'm going to see how it handles a spot. Is there a false sense of security there, or is it going to break 260? Or is it going to hold and go green and be like, wow, Apple saved my day, or Apple wasn't so bad, or are they going to just sell it and then just risk down? You got to do the same kind of thought process for Google. Google's best in breed, big gap up after numbers, hit 291, sold down, so is 275 going to hold? That's your line in the sand. Tesla, there's some news out there about all their registrations are lower, but lately, we know that the EV market is slowing. It's not the narrative here. It's the robo-taxis and it's the robotics. It's the package. Anyway, does 454 hold? Last time it broke the 8, they've repaired in a day. That's what Tesla does. It's annoying. Thank goodness we sold some options yesterday, but I still have some shares on. How could you not have some shares on? So it's not responsible. Like, right, dog, you're a permeable. You're an idiot. I can't believe you were so blind to Tesla. Really? Look, it looked really good, and now it looks fine. So we'll see how that goes. And then real quickly, you have like Microsoft that's been down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Sometimes these names that have been weaker, want to start a new life, so they turn up while some de-risks happen elsewhere. Who knows? So the question is, does 506 hold? Does it reclaim 514? You have the same kind of thesis for Meta. Meta's been down a lot. And I haven't tried it once. Maybe it's worth a look. It's a hard name. This 620 to 611 area is tough. If you want to try and be cute and you think you could sell some puts into this area, you could do so for cash flow. For me, I'm going to watch it. Sometimes things just change up, meaning where this has been the weakest and all of a sudden it goes red to green, so it tries to be stronger moving forward, but it doesn't always happen that way. So anyway. So another clue for today, NVIDIA. Does NVIDIA hold 201 or not? If it doesn't hold 201, chances are, selling pressure is going to persist. QS didn't come out with news. If you sold some strength, great. You have the luxury of buying some back into 14.95. I would go with options, not stock, just in case. Hopefully there is some news, and hopefully some of these spec names work moving forward. We'll see. Same thing with Poet. If you sold some into this move back towards 730, where there would be some resistance, then you have the luxury to buy some back here. Just don't get too big. Hasn't been below the 100-day pretty much in a long time, and this is more of a concept play where I'm building a position. Hopefully it'll start acting well, and hopefully we'll have a better market, but hopefully is not a great word if you have too much size and it's disrupting your day. If it's disrupting your day, you have too much size there. But it is worth a look down here. ASTS, inside and down, so if you wanted some clues on, some weakness and why you should have some puts, etc., well, this was an inside move to the downside, and now you could probably try some. This low here is what, 71? So this was 74, so 71. Maybe you get a red dog reversal today. I'm not in it. We did pretty well into that. Most guys sold it, into the strength, into the extension, and then we all were looking around here and haven't really looked at it since. So maybe it's worth a look today. I think that's not a bad idea to look at this verse here. Oklo, I haven't looked since we tried buying that right around here. It's coming also. Maybe there's a trade versus 114 area. What's AS? Let's see. ASTS is down 3, getting close to that 66 again. Oklo down 4. No, that's Amazon Oklo. Let's see. Oklo. OKLO. All right. Maybe it doesn't want to go in there. It's down to 120. I would stay away from this type of name where it could be loose and wide and screw you up. I'd go more where there's liquidity, and simplify it a little bit more. Other than that, if again, I'm going to just reiterate, if iron doesn't hold 64-ish, there's room below, and chances are some things are going to have follow down selling. If Palantir doesn't hold 190, 192, chances are, you're going to see some loose and wide sloppy sellers out there. If Nvidia doesn't hold, 201, same thing. If Tesla doesn't hold, but it might get below these things and reclaim them. I don't know. If Tesla doesn't hold 454-ish, it's going to get sloppy. If Apple doesn't hold 266-ish, it's going to get sloppy. So that's like the theme. Are we going to get sloppy, or are things contained, and will today turn into an awesome day, or a day where you wish you had more hedges on and wish you cleaned some things up? If you look here, I'm coming in a decent position, not the best position. I do have on a decent amount of the 680 puts that I bought for 80 cents ish. Those will be like 5. Sold some premium, but I am long some. I'm long some Apple, I'm long some Poet, I'm long some Tesla and Amazon. Those things I'm not upset about. I did roll into, I still have some 255 Amazons. I didn't roll them yet, so that's good. And I did roll some Apple calls, which I'll wait and see. So at this point, again, cooler heads will prevail. I would definitely say take off 50 to 75% of your hedges in like the SPYs. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell probably 75% of my puts that I have in the SPYs into this area, and then I'm going to see, again, can I buy any of these names that were stronger versus lows, and do these high valuation names really break, or do they kind of hold in there? And that'll give me some clues to measure the market and measure the move versus having all these thoughts. Yes, the blood in the street account will not be put to work today. It only gets put to work at the end of the day anyway, and it only starts with 5% off the highs. I don't even know if we're 3% off the highs. So I just think, again, like I was looking at this at the 630 Club this morning just to see how spoiled we all are. The market's pretty. Look how elevated this is. We're all pretty spoiled here. Just in general, it's been a nice big trend. Trend has been your friend. If you're up money because you're short finally today and you missed this whole move, how well did you do? But anyway, the 8-day has held. It's held this entire rally since May. So we could test the 8-day again and still be fine. But if you're too long and we break 679, which we don't reclaim, then it hurts a little bit if you trade actively for a living. And then it could even see that. So anyway, just know kind of the bigger picture, but don't let that dictate your thought process today. Make money today. Make the right decisions today. That's all you could do. All right, guys, I got to jump. I'll be back.